What's up everyone, Vortex here and welcome back to another Raid Shadow Legends video and welcome back to Zero to Hero. Today we have another episode of this series that I'm building and we're gonna talk about the best rares in the game. Now, when I say rares, you might be scared, you might think, oh, do I really need rares on my account as an early game player? You kinda do, okay? There's a bunch of them that are very good, but they're not worth it to take to level 60 or to use them in most of your content. So the champions that we're looking at today, guys, these are the champions that are worth to take to level 60, to book, to ascend, to get the masteries, everything that you need to build them, because not only they will help you in early game, but they will be able to help you in mid game, even towards late game. So enough yapping, let's go to the video. So let's start with the best rare in the game, with no surprise for anyone, that's Coldheart. Coldheart, it's one of those champions that you really need to book, you really need to get the masteries, take her to level 60. She is very strong, very powerful, even endgame players nowadays, they still use her in a lot of content in the game. So why is she that good? First of all, she has an A3 that does enemy max HP, which means she's doing a lot of damage, especially in bosses. She's good in clan boss, she's good for bosses in Doom Tower, she's good for spider, she's absolutely amazing for spider actually. And it is a very strong ability. On her A1, it's a quad hit with heal reduction. So she's very good for Fire Knight, especially early game and mid game. If you have two of them, you're gonna take those shields from the Fire Knight like this. Plus the heal reduction and will block the Fire Knight from healing himself. So you really want to build Coldheart as fast as you can, as soon as you get her. She also has an A2, attacks all enemy with poison and decrease accuracy. The poison, it's only if the enemy is under heal reduction. So yeah, Coldheart, absolutely amazing. I think I have two of them, if I'm not mistaken. Let me double check. Yes, I have two of them. They're not built, obviously, but I can always take the gear from other champions and use that gear on them. So yeah, Coldheart, amazing champion. Definitely, you should take her to level 60 and all that stuff. Speaking about damage, another champion that is very good and very powerful, and people, even in endgame players, they still take to level 60 and everything, is Fellhound. Fellhound has an AoE A1 with decreased speed. The other two, they're not really important, but why do you need Fellhound? Fellhound can farm campaign. So towards endgame, people will use him to farm their campaign. I don't use him, to be honest. I have Soulless, but Fellhound can do it in 6 seconds. He's one of the fastest one. And yeah, if you get him, you can invest some books and chickens on him if you really feel like you need him. Again, even endgame players to this day, they still use him, so you can give him a try. The problem with both what's her name, Coldheart and Fellhound, is that they are void affinity, so they're kind of hard to get. It takes a while. You might not get them in your first 100 shards or more, but you will get them eventually. So if you get them, make sure to invest some energy and books and everything in them and take them to level 60, because they're gonna be very useful towards all your career in Raid Shadow Legends on your account. What's the next champion? The next champion is going to be Apothecary. We spoke about him in my video for Zero to Hero early game. Apothecary, it's a very strong champion. He's gonna be your main champion for arena, or we're gonna talk about the second option, but which is Litter from the new faction. But Apothecary, I think to this day he's still worth taking to level 60, book, masteries, everything, because he's great in arena. He's great for using him with another champion in campaign to restart the stages. As I show you again, I explained that in my video about the early game. The heal is good. He loses a little bit later in the game. You might use him up to mid game. Eventually you're gonna get rid of him because you're gonna get Arbiter. So Arbiter is much better than him, obviously, for everything she does. But early game and beginning of mid game, something like that, he is amazing. Okay, so he's really worth taking to level 60. You're not gonna regret it. The other option, if you don't have Apothecary, it's Slither. He seems a little bit better than Apothecary. He does pretty much the same things, but with some extra. Okay. Again, Slither, I think it's a champion that is worth taking to level 60, to book, to mastery, everything. If you're lucky enough to get him, you can see the reviews are very good on this guy. So yeah, he's a pretty decent champion, and he is a rare, easy to take. You can open the mystery shards and you will get them, both him and Apothecary. You can get them from mystery shards, so they're easy to get, unlike Coldheart and what was the other one, and Fellhound, right? But a really strong champion. The other one that I want to mention about, it's your starting champion. We already spoke about this, but your starting champion, whoever it is, you might go. I would suggest to go for Kale, but you can go for whoever you want. It's up to you. But your starting champion is always worth taking to 60, because he's gonna help you through most of your journey in the early game, and even a little bit in mid game. Obviously, Kale, at some point he will fall down. He's not gonna be that good. You might not use him anymore in the future, but in the beginning you're gonna use him a lot. Or the same goes for if you go for Aethel or Elhain or Galek. Up until mid game, you're gonna use them for sure. Another champion that I want to mention, it's not in this faction, it's here. It's Bellower. Bellower is a very strong champion. He is a Void Affinity, so once again, just like Coldheart and Fellhound, that is kinda hard to get. He has 3 attacks with AoE. He has a bunch of debuffs. Granted, they are the small version, but they're still good debuffs. Active block, active skills, decrease speed, decrease attack, decrease defense. On all 3 AoE damage, he is very, very strong. So if you get your hands on him, don't skip on him. You can actually build him to level 60. He's gonna carry you through a lot of the content, even in mid game, even towards end game. Because at some point you will get into Doom Tower, and on these stages, the secret stages, you're gonna have to use only rares, like in this case. So if you don't have like Coldhearts or Kale, you can see I'm gonna use them here. I didn't use them today, but I will have to put the gear on them and use them so I can clear this stage. And yeah, some of these rares, there's gonna be very important later in the game. Other champions that are worth mentioning, because these are pretty much all the best champions in the game that I would suggest, but there's a couple of them. Hellborn, it's actually very, very good in weak swell teams for the shields and everything, because she can extend the debuffs, the buffs. So she's very strong, very powerful. If you want, you can invest in her. You might get other champions that are better, but for example, like a Demeter or whatever is her name. Let me see. Gatsika Raniri, she's very good for that role. But if you don't have Gatsika Raniri, if you don't have Lady Mikage, who is a fusion, Hellborn can be actually very, very, very strong champion. I'm moving across too much. Yeah, Hellborn, she's gonna be a very good champion if you don't have Lady Mikage or Demeter or Gatsika Raniri. Other champions worth mentioning are in a faction that I do not remember exactly which faction. Let me double check. Renegade, she has some cool stuff that she's doing, ideally for the cooldown, to reduce the cooldown of the skills. She is good enough until you get some better champions, okay? But for example, she's great for like waves. Whenever you need to use the skills of your nuker and you need to reduce the cooldown for the next round, you can use Renegade to reduce the cooldown of your skills. So you can have the same skill that is the best one for your nuker to take down the next wave, and then the one after, and so on. So yeah, Renegade is a very decent champion. Painkeeper, it's another one that is decent. Again, she can reduce the cooldown of the skills. Pair her with Renegade that we spoke about, and they can reduce each other's cooldown and do some cool stuff like in waves and stuff like that. Now, another champion that is very, very strong, it's Knot. Again, he is probably the best rare reviver in the game. He can revive 2 allies with 25 HP and 10 meter plus a shield. If you don't have a reviver and you manage to get Knot, you should really invest on him because he might be able to carry you through a lot of the content in the game, and he actually looks very, very cool. Also, another champion that I would suggest, this is something that a lot of people, they might not even know about. It's Runic Warder. Maybe you've never heard about him. I'm pretty sure a lot of people don't know about this guy, but so what he's doing is that he's placing a reflect damage and a continuous heal on all allies for 2 turns. Why is that important? For a very long time in the beginning, I used to have him in my Fire Knight team, and that reflect damage was helping me to take down the shield of the Fire Knight. It's not gonna work in hard difficulty, that's for sure, but in normal difficulty, I would say up to stage 15 or something like that, you can actually use him, and he's gonna get rid of the shields of the Fire Knight very easy with the reflect damage, you know. So he's a pretty strong champion. I don't think he's worth taking to level 60, but maybe level 50, yeah, you can take him. And like I said, he is worth mentioning because he's not a champion that people know about and that they actually use. Plus, he has double attack on his A2 and double attack on his A1, so he's very good against Fire Knight. In fact, you can see even the people, they agree with this. Fire Knight Castle is the best place for him. And again, if you have him, he might be very useful for you. Another champion that is worth mentioning, again, I wouldn't say to invest money on energy or anything on him, but is Gnarlhorn. He can place an unkillable on himself, and then he can place provokes on the champions. So he can be a very good champion to control waves. He's not gonna do much damage or anything like that, but he can keep the enemy teams with the locked so they can't do anything, you know. Also, another one that just came to mind right now is Candleguard. Candleguard actually can hit very, very hard. And for a very long time in Faction Wars, I used her in waves and stuff like that. So again, is she a champion to take to level 60? Probably not. But she is worth mentioning. If you get your hands on her, she can be very, very decent, even in waves and stuff like that, until you get someone better. Another very decent champion is Soulbound Boyer. She has an AoE attack on her A1 with a chance to inflict a crit hit. The rest of the kit is not that great, but her A1 is very, very powerful. You can place her on a stun set, and you can keep the waves under control and stop them from doing whatever they're doing. And as the last 2 champions that I want to mention here, it's Frozen Banshee and Grave Chill. Now, they kind of work together very well for clan boss. They have poison sensitivity, again, poisons everywhere, decreased defense. There are some teams and strategies where you can use both of them together and create some good teams for clan boss. You will get rid of them eventually, but if you don't have a good strong team for clan boss, maybe you struggle to get that one key for hard or something like that, maybe it's worth looking into those 2, and they might help you a lot in to do some good damage for clan boss. So guys, as I mentioned in my previous video about the early game, all these damage dealers that we mentioned here, they have to be in Savage, maybe some speed set or whatever. Your support champions should be in speed gear, maybe some shield or lifesteal. Go watch that video, I will explain there a little bit more. But that's pretty much the gear that you're looking for, especially in early game. Later in the game, for example, when you get to like mid game, you might look into other type of gear for them, like Merciless, or maybe protection set, or maybe I don't know, feral set, stuff like that. But in the beginning, Savage, Speed, Shield, those are good sets. Steel set, so just play around with them. Again, we mentioned the ones that are worth taking to level 60. If I'm looking at my account here, I don't really, except for the 2 Coldhearts and Kale in some occasions and Bellower. The other ones, I don't really use them. You can see I have a lot of them. I don't really use them, but that's because I was quite lucky in the beginning and I got some good champions. Like Duchess, she was one of my first champions. So I had her as a reviver. I would never invest my energy and my time into Knot, right? Because I have a Duchess, so why would I need him? But if you don't have, as I mentioned, one champion like Knot, he can be very useful for you if you don't have a reviver. Hellborn, like I said, she's very useful, but I have Mikage. I have what's her name? I have the Mita, I have Godseeker Ranieri, so obviously I'm using them instead of Hellborn. But if you don't have them, Hellborn, she's gonna be amazing for your account. Guys, this was a quick video. This is gonna be part of the Zero to Hero series. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.